Hey, this is Charlie Malouf, and you are watching Influencing Entrepreneurs.
After years of teaching entrepreneurship and consulting business owners, I realized that true knowledge comes from the wins and losses of those entrepreneurs. These are the stories of those business leaders. I'm Casimir Ward, and this is Influencing Entrepreneurs. Today we're talking with Charlie Malouf with Broad River Retail, and thank you so much for being here today.
Cass, thanks for having me. It's an honor and a pleasure to speak with you.
So tell me where your entrepreneurial journey begins.
Gosh, how far back are we going to go? I mean, I call it a landscaping business. Maybe my wife would call it like mowing lawns as a kid. So, printing out flyers and doing that for many years as a kid. But really my entrepreneurial business began on my 25th birthday. I hung out my shingle and started my first company in Jackson, Mississippi. It was a technology-based business, and it was web development, e-business consultancy shop, online marketing, search engine marketing, and kind of grew it through.
And around what year is this?
March of 2000.
Okay, so you're kind of right in the middle of, the tech bubble.
Yeah, so I worked for a technology company for a year and a half or so. And so in the late 90s, and I was infatuated with the way that the internet was changing business. It's not too dissimilar from what they're talking about AI today.
Right.
So this was the cusp of the internet bubble. And I started my company right when the internet bubble burst. But, we were kind of a gritty startup and, but low cost, and you keep the lights on, you push through some crucible moments. And there was a crucible moment in the first 6 months. There was a crucible moment after 9/11. There are companies that were larger than us that would win business, but, some of them had taken on too much money or grown too large and really kind of washed them away or made them a lot smaller. And we just kept marching and really, 5 years in, I felt like, we had signed 2 really large contracts. We were working with some advertising agencies where we were kind of there. They might do the graphical front end work, and we were doing the under the hood, the harder database programming work. And I kind of felt like I no longer had to kind of work these crazy hours. I mean, I was.
You had a team. You were able to build infrastructure.
Yeah. We had about a team of 12, and we had an office in Jackson, Mississippi, and one in Oxford, Mississippi. And but then Jonathan Ishii came calling, and he and I had been friends in Mississippi. He went off to get his MBA degree at Vanderbilt. We stayed in touch. Matter of fact, I kept him employed for a couple months, trying to do some sales and drum up business because he needed some income when he was starting at Vanderbilt. He got this deal to start the Ashley stores in Charlotte with a business partner.
And Ashley, just for those that don't know, what does the Ashley stores do?
Yeah, so we're a retail company, furniture retailer.
So this is completely, the reason I want to point this out is because this is completely different from technology.
Yeah. So I was in an industry that I loved. I was infatuated with how the internet was changing business. And we were kind of doing the picks and shovels. And then we were doing software development. We had really proliferated and grown our expertise.
And survived the bubble. So this is going, and then all of a sudden we're going to get into retail and selling furniture.
Yeah, we had pretty much become like the premier, e-business shop. But Jonathan had gotten this deal with Ashley Furniture Industries because he had worked for Miskelly Furniture, selling furniture. His uncles owned that in central Mississippi. One of the brands that he sold there was Ashley. And he always thought it was like a really easy brand to sell, that it had really good quality and value. And around this time, Ashley was trying to set up these showroom stores, concept stores around the country, growing with OPM, other people's money. Yeah. And so they were a manufacturer, and they said, the way for us to grow is to kind of be the one-stop solution. Instead of competing for store space on one of our retailers' showroom floors, we should just put it all under our like a Lazy Boy store, a Bassett store, and Ashley Furniture Home Store. So I think the first store was like in 2002 in Anchorage, Alaska. So it was very, very early. And so around the summer of 2002, going into his second year of MBA school, he starts trying to figure out what he's going to do when he gets out of MBA school and has all this MBA debt. And his uncles are like, well, we're not going to give you any money, but we'll help you make a connection with, Ashley. they convinced Ashley. Ashley was prepared to, there's a whole long story to that, but Ashley was prepared to tell them no. But then they kind of said, hey, we've got this great location in Pineville, which we actually still have today. And he had found someone who wanted to start the company with them. They got the rights for the first store. They made all the first year mistakes, nearly went out of business. And then the business plan called for opening a second store, because it's hard to have scale with one store in Charlotte, one retail store. So they get the second store open, and then he comes and calls me. And he said, Charlie, this thing's about to take off. I feel like I'm on the ground floor of the next McDonald's. I'd really like you to come join us. We got an opportunity to acquire a third store. And I said, Jonathan, I don't know anything about retail. Matter of fact, I don't like shopping. I hated shopping growing up. If my mom said, I wanted to do sports, play sports, or maybe sports and business, or technology, I'm in.
Because you're kind of in your dream job at this
That's
point.
right. That's right. So, and things are moving smoothly. And he put an offer in front of me to basically jump on board a rocket ship and become an owner with him, buy in as a minority partner and managing partner. So it was a good business deal, a good opportunity. And it was also I also kind of felt spiritually called to make that move at that time. So I was 29, about to be 30. I sold my company, my baby that I owned for a little bit over 5 years. And I got a deal done, and I sold my house and sold kind of everything I owned, packed the rest of it into a small car, and moved to Charlotte, North Carolina. And I joined the day we opened store number 3 in Greenville, South Carolina on May 1st, 2005.
Make a living with your own company before you sell it. And I'm sure you put a little bit of money in your pocket from that. Have you done the research to make sure they're capitalized enough or have the resources to where you're not going to be 2 months in and then without a paycheck if it doesn't work out?
Really good question. Well, a lot of it's based off trust. I trusted Jonathan and Jackson. Jackson Moore was the other business partner. I worked for peanuts for the first 3 months, and my stock didn't kind of come into play for the first 3 months. And I didn't really put a lot into my pocket because I had to buy into the new company, and I basically rolled all my chips. So I put all my eggs in one basket. I was not very liquid. Had I had to do it all over again, I would have maybe asked a few more questions and gotten a little bit of clarity. Well, what if times get tough because the Great Recession happened or other things, and we aren't able to, can we put a time fuse on when saying all that? Sure. If I had a little bit less naivety or a little bit more experience, I may have tried to negotiate it differently. However, I mean, they had talked to someone else who they couldn't get a deal done, and he didn't take the leap of faith, and I did. And it had to be, where they were at that time, it really had to, I knew you had to have a little bit of emotional intelligence to kind of understand and a little bit of an instinct. This is going to be based off of trust. And can you trust these people or not? And ultimately, yeah, maybe I would have talked through some things differently. It all worked out, and it worked out maybe better than I could have ever expected. And all that goes to, I fully trusted Jonathan. He trusted me, and we had that sort of relationship. And that's really, really important. Choose your partners well, choose your life partner well, choose your business partners well. Because it doesn't matter what's on a piece of paper. If someone wants to try to screw you or it doesn't matter what's on the paper. What Jonathan used to say is, hey, we're going to have an agreement here, but I hope we never have to look at it because we're always going to do what's right by each other. And I try to do that as well with my business partners today and who I do business with.
Going in and buying in early on and become running the company, becoming the CEO, what is something you wish you would have knew ahead of time?
I probably had some myths about things I didn't know, like negotiating contracts or dealing with lawyers were going to be more challenging, or dealing with budgets were there's some things that I thought were weaknesses that once I was forced to address them and make them strengths, necessity is the mother of invention. So maybe I would have gotten better at that. Or maybe what I told someone the other day, I said, as I've gotten into my late 40s, I've put in better daily personal habits and disciplines. In my 20s and 30s, I was just a grinder. And I was just I'll just work as long as it takes. And if I don't need to sleep, I won't sleep. And I just didn't have really good health and wellness habits. It's not something I would have known per se, but I would have maybe tried to get more serious about health and wellness.
You realize at some point you can't grind your way into success. I mean, you do need some of that grit, and there is a time for it, but it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
What was your biggest aha moment?
One of the first decisions I made when I became president and CEO was to switch from human resources to human capital. And I had seen some speakers like Blake Mycoskie, who started Tom Shoes, Kip Tyndall, who's leading the Container Store, John Mackey, who started Whole Foods. All these guys in 2013 and 2014 who were part of the conscious capitalism movement. I started to be inspired by that. And when I had my shot, and we were at a crisis moment in 2015, and make it, and from human resources to human capital, the way I understood it was really just a mindset shift of looking at people not as resources to minimize or liabilities on a balance sheet, but as assets to grow and to invest in. In our industry, historically, people didn't pay commission on deliveries. And so they said, look, that's just a loss leader. We don't make money on that. And we remodeled our delivery fees and our provider and said, there's enough spoils here to share. And I said, what really happens is instead of negotiating with the customer on the zero moment of truth and giving them the delivery for free, because I used to review every sale for 10,000 sales for years and years. And I would see that, they're just giving away delivery for free because there's no incentive and we weren't managing it well. I said, what if we paid on that and made every dollar that they could accept negotiable and count and something that, because it is negotiable. And I said, but also when you don't worry about the revenues coming in, you just say, okay, well, that's just an expense. I got to lower the expense. I'm going to have what we call lowest common denominator service provider. Right. And we're like, wait, if I want to elevate the service provider, I've got to bring more revenues in. Right. And then I've got to also present it better, brand it better. At that time, people were saying with delivery that Amazon's giving away free delivery. And we're like, wait a second, we're not dropping a box off at the front door.
No, you're setting it up. You're getting a couch in the front door.
100%. So our controller at that time said, Charlie, I've got an idea for the name. I said, Steve, what is it? He goes, DASH. Well, what do you mean by DASH? He goes, it's an acronym. Delivery, Assembly, Service in your home, DASH. I said, that's beautiful. And so we rebranded it. We changed our pricing structure. We changed our delivery provider. We started paying commissions on it. And then our delivery revenues soared and we made money on delivery. We had better delivery. We have the best delivery experience we've ever had. Our guests are happier. They're happy to pay for it, save some time, money, and we have better quality. And then our people have more confidence in selling it and they make more money on it. And now they get paid on it, and we've influenced the industry on that as well in a large way. And so people who rely on commission sales are making more money. Our customers are getting better service. The delivery teams are making more money as well because we're willing to pay more for the service. And so I think it's been that whole concept of spirit of abundance, mutual prosperity, win-win-win scenario. So everybody wins.
And they end up coming back.
Yeah, that's right.
We started on how different a technology company is versus, furniture, retail, even leasing and everything that goes into that. What has been one of the skills or traits that has been very similar between the two businesses?
Yeah, I maybe I undersold it a little bit because I think to kind of maybe earn my stripes early on, I took on a lot of projects that had technology adjacent initiatives related to it. And so I was able to take a lot of that experience with technology projects and put them into place in our company back then on many, many projects. And I really enjoyed that. I kind of felt a sense of satisfaction and that I was kind of providing value to the company. And so to answer your question, every company is a technology company. You can't be a company today and not be a technology company. You have to embrace technology. And we're so much more advanced. I can't keep up with any of it today in terms of the systems and the tools that our teams are using. So I would say that's probably how I'd answer that.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for sharing this with us. And I appreciate you coming by.
My pleasure. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for watching. To watch more episodes of Influencing Entrepreneurs, be sure to subscribe on YouTube at Nexagy Education.